Exactly. Well, I guess we should play into that. Ah, wait. I guess we should
Got
play
that the
into
Lulu.
there. They got that to Lulu.
Okay. All right.
Hey, now you're an editor too. They should pay you more.
I know. You'll put me on the end. Connect with MCP on Gmail, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Spotify, Apple products, or whatever you listen to podcasts.
Apple products.
Did I say Apple products?
Apple products.
I think that should be left like that. Honestly,
Apple products.
it's applicable.
It covers all.
I like that.
Blair says she likes it.
Blair says she likes it. All right, you want to do one more run through?
Yeah, let's do one more. All right. Wait. Do re mi fa sol la ti do.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 50th episode of the show. I'm Blair, as always.
And I'm Kirsten, as always, and we are
Mediocre
content. And this is perfect.
So wonderful.
First of all, we're a year in
Yes.
at our 50th episode.
Yes.
Which is so fun and
It's
perfectly
beautiful.
timed.
Yes. And we did not do this on purpose. And it's Halloween.
Oh,
so,
yes.
like, how
Right.
how can you get any better than this? We don't know.
It's hard to say. Also, happy Halloween to all of
Yes.
you lovely viewers. For anyone who celebrates, and who,
Yes.
if you don't, happy Halloween.
Precisely.
This is going to be a very fun episode. We have some stats. We have some conversations about the year in review. Our favorites, maybe our unfavorites. What can we say?
Yeah. I mean, this is just going to be a fun episode. Nothing's super serious.
No.
We're just going to chat with you guys and hang out.
I guess you could say this is a filler episode. So if you don't care.
Well, no, it's important. It's important to mark the milestones
It's true.
in your hobbies. You know what I mean?
It's very fair. We also won't have any good news because the good news is this pretty much.
Yeah.
And I would argue that our disclaimer doesn't actually apply here because we are experts on ourselves, sort of. I guess.
Exactly. We're experts on our podcast.
That's fair. That's
not
fair.
podcasting in general.
No,
we are
no.
experts on our podcast.
Very important distinction there.
Yes. Mhm.
So I think we go ahead and just jump right in.
Beautiful. All right.
So I do want to give you guys just a little bit of an overview, a little bit of stats. Let's talk numbers. So at the time of this podcast, like what you're listening to right this moment, we use a platform to spew out all of our content called RSS. And RSS gives you all the data on who's watching, listening, who's downloading, what episodes are great, which episodes appear to be flops, which we'll talk about. So yes, we do know if you're listening. I would also like to say,
yes,
it's kind of creepy. But as of today, I just checked it today. Originally, I had that there was currently over 1,080 downloads / listens. However, I checked this morning and it's 1,100 now. So
wow,
absolutely amazing.
So good.
I'm surprised anybody listens.
I know. And I'm sure we'll say this multiple times throughout the episode, but like, it's so nice. Even like, we're not the most listened podcast by any means, but like, it's so nice to know that people listen to us, and it's so nice to like have a small little audience who cares, about what we're talking about. And we originally started this podcast, just as like, Kirsten and I wanted an excuse to like chat every week, and we're like, why not just like record it and put it on the internet? It's fine.
Not? Yeah.
Now, as friends, I don't think our chats would be as focused, as we do the podcast,
That's fair.
But, it's a good excuse just to like say hey once a week at least.
And
Sometimes more, mostly like most of the time more, you know.
Yeah. I'd also like to say too, though, that we kind of do just BS right before it too.
Oh, we do.
Like even today we were just talking before recording, making plans for future episodes. And last week we were talking about, even 2024, which is nauseating to consider, but
Truly.
overall, yeah, we appreciate the listens. We didn't expect it, and we're super happy to have it, honestly.
Yeah.
We also have our top 5 episodes. So these are the episodes that have the most listens overall. And I'm just going to give you the rundown of those, what the topics were. We might have a little bit to say about them, particularly our very first one. And I think the reason that this hits number 1 is probably the case for many other podcasts out there, is it's the first one. So it's the trial run.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to at least try the first episode.
Yeah, I agree.
So the first episode's title was The World Doesn't Need Another Podcast. And that's super true, even a year later.
Mm-hmm.
There were 84 listens when I checked it last, and we did it anyway. They didn't need another one, but here we are.
Right. No, exactly.
And what
You're
I
welcome.
would like to, what I would like to know is, how do you feel a year later, knowing that was our first one, how far we've come, all the nasty feelings?
So honestly, I think it's like anything, like your first time doing something is not going to be like the greatest. Not that I don't think we did a good job, but like if I had to pick a podcast of ours that people could listen to first, I don't think it would be the first episode.
Ah, really?
No, it's definitely not my favorite episode. And I think it's cute because like, we just wanted to do like something kind of different. So the history of podcasts is a great way to like start a podcast, but also was it super interesting? Was it our best work? Maybe not.
Was it our best work? We were just babies,
but we were so excited. I remember
like
for those who don't know, I don't know if we talked about this in the first episode, but like Kirsten literally, like, so I moved to California. Kirsten's on the East Coast. We both had just like, well, I mean, you had been living there for a while, but like I just went through a really big move. I didn't really know anyone at work yet. Like I didn't know anyone in my community yet. And Kirsten, who I've known since college, texted me out of the blue. She's like, hey, so I think I'm starting a podcast. Do you want to be my co-host? And I was like, okay, I got nothing better to do. I don't have any friends. So yeah, might as well.
That's great.
And it was like perfect actually. And so so that's how we started the podcast. It wasn't like we had been wanting to do this for like many moons. I mean, maybe you had, I don't know, but like I definitely kind of was just like, sure, this seems fun. I've always wanted to be like on the radio, which is like this is as close as you can get to being on the radio now.
Enough.
So
no, I did not either. And when I texted you, it was literally because this whole thing started, and actually you'll find it in our titling and our description as well. In our pod description, it says, I believe, and I don't mean to misquote ourselves, but something about like, we weren't important enough to have a TED Talk, so this will do, or something like that.
Yeah, right.
That actually stems from the reason I texted you that day, because I was taking a UX UI design boot camp to kind of, forward my momentum into the UX UI world. And those things, they had them like in high school, maybe college too, where they're like end of year superlatives, where they're like most likely to whatever after you get out of school. And the one that I received was most likely to give TED Talks, like most likely to have a TED Talk. And I was very flattered because it was really fun to present with them and present with my group. We had a lot of presentations throughout the boot camp. And I'm not going to be doing TED Talks. I have nothing important to say. However, I was talking to one of my classmates and they're like, well, why don't you just do a podcast? And I was like, by myself, what would I even talk about? Like,
right.
just me sitting here like, who wants to? I don't want to listen to that. I hate the sound of my voice. So I was talking to my husband Tyler, and I was like, they said I should do this. I don't know what to talk about. I definitely don't want to do it by myself. And he's like, why not ask Blair? I was like, that's a great idea. And so I roped her into it. And here we are a year later after a silly TED Talk suggestion.
Yeah. Perfect. We love.
Great throwback. We do. Speaking of my husband Tyler, however, the second top 5 episode is actually you and his episode 5.
Yeah.
Paul the Medic. At the time that I took this, it had 51 listens, which is still an exuberant amount. And this is where the both of you traded off trying to make me vom
Yes.
on the podcast.
People love a good gross medical story.
They do.
Let me just say, like that, everyone, I mean, not everyone, obviously.
Not me.
But like a good amount of people love a gross medical story. And honestly, I would be open to doing a part 2 if you guys want.
I think so.
I have a lot of gross medical stories. And I think it would be fun.
Yeah. Tyler would definitely be down for that as well.
Yeah.
I think whenever he gets back to the hospital, he'll probably be more ready to do that. It's been a while. So, but yeah, I think people would enjoy that. I think when it comes to medical stuff, they're all in.
Totally.
Yeah. Number 3 was actually our second episode, which I think is funny. So basically we went from first episode, which everybody listens to at least once. We skipped episode 2 completely and went to episode 5 for slot 2. Number 3, episode 2, our Halloween special, a long spoopy podcast. And it was the same time around here. It had 49 listens as of the time I took it. And it's great that it's full circle, number 1.
Yes.
And we'll talk later about like our longest and shortest episodes, but it was an hour and 45 minutes. Like,
holy crap, was it really?
We were almost 2 hours, and I remember,
oh my God,
I remember editing that one, and I was like, we have like over 2 hours of content, and I was like, how the heck am I gonna shave that down?
So this was my episode, and I was like so proud of it because I love Halloween so much.
It was very evident by the 2 hours of content,
I guess. And so I obviously wanted, I think because it was the second one, I wanted to make sure I had enough content. And I think there's like a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to Halloween, like candy preferences and costumes and like all that. So I think that's probably why. And if you want to give it a listen, we have a really good argument about candy corn.
We did. We're still fighting to this day.
Oh my God.
I'll still rumble. We do. And honestly, that was one of my favorites as well. It was very fun. We were starting to get a groove on the structure of the pod.
Yes.
And I think even by episode 5, we were also getting a groove for the time management and about how much content needed to be in it.
Totally.
So I think that's what's so great about your first couple of episodes. They really are trial periods. They really are you guys finding the groove with each other, finding the groove with the timing, and then also being able to balance just enough to keep people in and then knowing when to drop off. I don't know if we're experts yet, but I do think we've really come a long way with that.
I mean, an hour and 45 minutes is like a kid movie.
It is, except you're just listening to it.
Well, and if there's any doubt that we know how to talk to each other,
oh my God,
that would be appropriate, you know.
That's good. That's fair. Number 4 is episode 7, Class is in Session, and that one had 45 listens. I actually don't remember a whole lot about this one. I'm not going to lie to you. Was this about the different this was about girl schools and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, is it a sweetbriar? Is it the
I think it was a sweetbriar. Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
I know. And I don't really know why this was number 7 in the lineup, so it's still early enough where if people are giving it a try, it makes sense maybe you'd review the first 10 episodes or something like that in order. But it is interesting that one is number 4 about, I guess, girl schools. I don't know.
Let me not
Yeah.
us not remembering our
Oh,
actual catalog.
So it was the history of the same-sex education and its
Oh,
place
yeah.
in
Okay.
today's learning. And then we had our discussion about our all-girls school experience.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys like that one. I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely a subject that's like near and dear to our hearts.
Yeah.
Because we did go to an all women's college. But yeah, I mean,
Yep.
yay for you for
Yeah.
giving that a shot, because honestly, I feel like same-sex education is definitely on the wayside in terms
Yeah.
of, you know, because like college is about making money now, which I
Absolutely.
mean, everything is about making money, but like
Yeah.
college is definitely not what it used to be.
It's true. And it's cool to, even just in our lifetime, see how much of a difference the education system has turned.
Definitely.
I would say. And then the number 5 in the highest performing episodes actually skips all the way to episode 23, Science and Cookies Please, with 38 listens. And this was with your husband,
Yeah.
Chris. And it was absolutely thrilling to learn about Oreos.
Yes. Oh my gosh. First of all, everybody loves Oreos. And if
Absolutely.
you don't love Oreos, then I can't
You're
talk
wrong.
to you. I'm sorry. But shout out to my husband for like
Yeah.
giving us some science background on Oreos. Love that.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
he's very proud of his episode as well. So that's good.
And just an honorable mention, I know it's not here, but I do want to give a shout out to our brothers as well. They were very Chris's wasn't as recent, but Chris and Philip have both done episodes with us, Philip being Blair's brother, Chris being mine. And we do want to make sure that we give a shout out to everyone who has been a guest on our show. We greatly appreciate it, and they have fueled our content, and we are forever grateful.
Yeah. And if we ever like, if one of us can't be here and we need a co-host substitution, you guys are the first on the list. So just be ready.
And just for reference, Philip's episode was on golf, and that one was a little bit more recent, I believe in September. I think it was episode 43.
Yeah.
And then for Chris, we talked about cars. So Chris is a mechanic by trade. He does a lot on cars. And I believe that one was number 8, episode 8, Fast and Furious was taken, so we used Quick and Cranky. So if you want to give the brothers episodes a try, we would sincerely appreciate it. And so
yeah shout out to them.
Cheers to them.
Mm-hmm.
So with all of our highs, I think it's also important to recognize our lows. So I also
we need to humble ourselves in this moment.
And I'm very humbled because
oh my god.
So the top 5 is also our top lowest 5, and I don't know why this one is. So for Women's History Month, Blair and I did a series where alternating weeks, as we do for our subjects, we selected women to recognize and, you know, obviously tell you guys about, and they were selected from our favorites, some people and some abstract, shall we say.
Yeah, so Kirsten, let me just say, Kirsten took this to more of a this is her take on women's history.
Right.
And neither of her people for Women's History Month were actual women.
Right. Not human women.
Right.
Right. Not concrete in your face women.
Which can be very misleading.
For sure. And also, I would argue that the titling, this is my theory.
No, I know what you're going to say.
The titling was very interesting. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and say it. So episode 16, Women's History Month series, Yas Queen Bee, is always, first of all, is consistently our lowest one. It has not gained past 11 listens since it aired. And also, it is our marker for how well our other episodes are doing.
Well, and it's episode 16, so it was released
Right.
a long time ago.
Very long.
And it's still at the bottom.
Still at the bottom, which means people just skip right over it in the series. The fact that freaking, it jumps from 7 to 23 in our top 5 means people really are just like zooming over that, which is fine. I don't take offense, but here is my theory. Basically, we don't really know why it's our lowest performing. Like, nobody's reached out, right, to be like, this sucks and this is
hey,
why.
we hate this episode.
Right,
Please do a different one.
This one is butts. However, my hypothesis is that people thought it was going to be Beyonce related, as in Queen Bee for Beyonce.
I also feel that way.
Right. Which is fine. People don't necessarily want to listen to a Beyonce related one, which is music related and fan related. But I also thought, okay, well, if it is Beyonce, wouldn't more people at least click on it?
So this is what I think is.
Okay.
I think that people read the description and was like, I don't want to listen to an hour-long podcast about bees.
Which is actually what it's about.
I want to listen to a podcast about
Beyonce. Right.
This is not for me.
And that's fair. But it is quite literally an episode about queen bees. That's how the Women's History Month got tied in. But it's fine. All of you hate pollinators and it shows. And that's
oh my God.
Just kidding.
Just come for the people like that.
It's okay. It was also abstract. I get it. The titling was weird. I'm not going to rename it. It just is what it is.
And I think is what it is. Yeah.
And it's also a good marker for us to learn from in the future for future episodes.
Well, and now it's a joke for us.
It's absolutely
because it's like, if we did better than the Queen Bee episode,
then we made it.
We're doing great.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the one. It will probably be consistently the lowest, and that's fine. So thanks for making that a really good joke for the both of us, everybody.
Yeah.
So the next lineup, I will say, these are technically the lowest, but they are also the most recent. So this makes sense to me. This is more just
they're
like
still low. Yeah.
Right. Apparently none of you like Uranus jokes, because episode 34 in our solar series, insert cliche Uranus joke, has 12 listens. So it's just one above our worst one. And that's fair.
So my thought is, because that was some of our best work, honestly.
I would say.
I feel like maybe it got suppressed or something because
of Uranus.
Inappropriate because of Uranus.
That's fine. Also, the middle planets, no offense to them, because you guys know, obviously, I love all planets equally. They're probably not as popular as, say, like Saturn or Pluto or, those kinds of mainstream planets. You know what I mean? And you'll see, so Uranus is number 2 with 12 listens, but the Neptune episode, number 36, had 13 listens. So that was our number 4. So as we got midway into our solar series, people kind of dropped off. You guys are probably tired of listening to planets anyway, but also probably not the most favorites of planets. And I get that as well. Episode 35 is in our number 3 spot. And this was Did Someone Say Road Trip? And this had 13 listens as well. I actually really enjoyed this episode. You did this one on, wasn't it regarding your travels and your experiences while you guys were going through the national parks or something?
I think so. Hold on.
Again, absolutely our podcast, and we don't really know.
We have no idea what it was. I mean, it's 50 episodes,
It's true. Yeah. And I think it was national parks, because you've been to some.
Oh, yeah. I think so. I think it was national parks. Hold on. Because I know we did like an actual national park episode, but I don't think it was.
Yeah. No, I think it was great places to go, and some of them happened to be the national parks as well. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. That's what it was.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Professional. And then episode 41 rounds us off. And this was Stop Opening the Pyramids. This was number 5, but also this one was the most recent. And that one also had 13 listens. So, and I think actually if I were to go on there now, as we're recording this pod, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, obviously things have changed a little bit because we also just released episode 47, TikTok Goes the Clock. So now that one is 12 listens. So everything has kind of shifted. So again, if we were rating it on the most recent episodes, that kind of gives you a picture. But yeah, I would say even at 11 listens being our lowest, that's still pretty good. For us anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
Now we are going to kind of look at our stats because again, we can kind of see individually the episode information as well as given ourselves a month's overview. And this year we actually hit an all-time record for monthly listens in the month of July in 2023. This one had the highest amount of listens in any 1 month since we've started at 147, which is insane.
That's pretty good.
And just to kind of give you an idea, our average number for this year is 89. So we blew that average out of the park in July.
Just to confirm, did someone say road trip episode is in July? And also it is the national parks episode. I'm sorry, I misspoke. It is the national parks episode.
There we go. Maybe you guys secretly did like it, and that's why July blew up. But our lowest month was actually February with 48 listens, and I would argue that's still really a really high number.
Yeah.
So again, for a podcast that's literally a baby. So
and we do all of our own stuff. So
we are the crew.
Yeah, we are the IT department, the social media manager, the editor,
content creator.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I would again give credit to the MCP husbands as well, because they do our ads every now and then.
They do,
which we appreciate.
Chris was like, so how much are you going to pay me to do this ad this week? And I was like, well, you get to spend time with Tyler via Zoom. And he was like, that's enough. That's good.
I thought you were going to say, well, I'm cooking dinner later. So
no, I don't do that.
That's great. It's a time for them to connect as well.
I think so. Yeah.
Every quarter, when we redo our ads, they get to reconnect as friends.
They do.
As I mentioned, we do also see the longest and shortest times for our podcasts. And as I already stated, the longest one is our Halloween one, episode 2. And it was 1 hour and 45 minutes. But I can tell you from an editor perspective, it was over 2 hours long and very dense.
I'm so sorry.
Me and GarageBand spent a lot of quality time together that night.
I just love Halloween so much.
It's okay.
Don't understand.
It's fine. But I do think it was one of my favorites as well. Obviously one of y'all's as well, because it did make our top 5 highest listens. So thanks for listening to the extremely long podcast.
That's right.
Our shortest pod was actually, ironically, the Pluto episode 38, Pluto is a Planet, Fight Me. This one was 43 minutes and 28 seconds and had 34 listens at the time. And I think it's adorable that it's the smallest planet and also had the shortest amount of time.
Cute.
This fits. If you guys don't know, we are also on the YouTubes now.
We are on the YouTubes.
So if you listen to our pods on Apple, Spotify, Pandora, whatever, Stitcher, that's great. But you can also find us and our streams that we record over on Twitch on YouTube as well. So we do have a little bit of stats there. Our total views as of posting, of course, we have 321 over there, which is fantastic.
Nice.
There is, of course, 11.5 hours of total watch time. We have 7 subscribers and over 37,000 total impressions on our videos. So again, really great. Our most viewed video is actually episode 42 in our solar series, You Are My Sunshine. No, literally. And that was the episode about the sun. It's also our final episode, I think, in the solar series, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
It had 30 views and gained 2 subscribers off of that one. Also fantastic.
Yeah.
However, ironically, we have 3 videos with 0 views. So I'm gonna need y'all to get on that. Okay.
Well, give them a chance. They probably listen to it on
Yeah.
audio and they don't want to listen to it again. The other thing is like our YouTube videos, majority of them are just like
Sound.
audio.
Right.
There's like no video part. So like I
Right.
feel maybe in the future we'll feel good enough about posting our Zoom.
Maybe. Probably not.
So that you guys can watch our podcast as well. It's so stupid how like podcasts are supposed to be in audio only, but
Yeah.
then everyone now expects you to post like videos of all your stuff, right?
Yeah,
of you
it's weird.
podcasting. And I'm like, I got into podcasting so that I didn't have to do my makeup and my hair. Like,
I look like a deranged raccoon right now.
Right. No, exactly. I have a gross, like, most of the time I have a gross sweatshirt on that I've been
Hair
wearing
up.
for the past like week and a half, and I just don't want to deal with this.
Your 4-day-old bun.
Right. Yeah. I haven't washed my hair in 3 days. Like, that's how we podcast. And it's nice and convenient because I can just roll out of bed.
It's true. Literally.
Yeah.
With that though, the most ironic thing that I find is that our Call the Medic, which got placed 2 in our top 5, has 0 views on YouTube right now.
Yeah. But it was posted on YouTube recently, and
right.
We
That's
posted the
since
actual
passed.
podcast many moons ago.
Exactly. The other one that doesn't have any views is our Saturn Put a Ring on It, which had 21 listens on our actual RSS feed. And then our episode 6, which was also a very long time ago, which was our holiday special celebrations for everyone in December. And that one had 35 listens on RSS. So if you'd like to give any of those a try, whether it's on RSS or on our YouTube, feel free to do so. But that's just the stats.
Indeed.
And then I think before we go into additional stats, there's one more thing, and then I think I'm going to put us over into the ad break. But we also can see where all of you are listening from. And so that's super cool. So I just wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to all of the places in the world that listen to us, because we genuinely appreciate it. And it's so cool to see all of the countries and areas of the world that give us a try. And with that, even though some of you may be bots, here we go. We
still love you.
We still love you, and we appreciate it. The fact that the robots listen to us, much appreciated. So there are 226 listens that are just in the United States. There is also 362 that we know what state that you're in, but there's so many of you, I really don't have the time to go by state. So thank you so much for giving us a listen, whether you're labeled or otherwise. There are 4 generally unlabeled in the UK that listen to us. We have 26 listens from Brussels, Belgium, 14 from Brisbane, Australia. We have 4 from Coari, Brazil, 2 from Valby, Denmark, 2 from Ipswich, United Kingdom, 2 from Campinas, Brazil, and then the following have 1 listen per these areas, and that is Israel, Singapore, Oldham, United Kingdom, Dublin, Ireland, Strasbourg, France, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Zalapa, Mexico, Tife, Mexico, and Chile. So
I love how you said that. Chile.
So thank you all, wherever you're from in the world, for giving us a try, giving us a listen, bots or otherwise. We sincerely appreciate it. And with that, I'm going to throw us into a break.
Break time.
Go get a snack or something.
We spend a lot of time joking about our mediocrity and how we can't believe people actually listen to our pods and join our lives.
Despite that, the truth is we are so thankful to have our little community, and we want to send our special thanks to all you MCP fam members for continuing to stick with us every episode. It does not go unnoticed.
It might be cheesy and a little cliche, but we truly want to thank you for listening to our pods and engaging with our content as we slowly grow our platforms.
So from us over here at Mediocre Content Podcast,
thank you. Now, enough of this mushy stuff. Let's get back to the pod.
Welcome back, everybody. We are going to continue our celebration of our 50th episode, as well as our 1 year into this crazy pod life. We have a little bit more stats to go through, and then it's just Q&A with Blair and I, which I think is great.
Which means we're going to ask each other questions,
Correct.
and not you questions.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do. So I also wanted to kind of just give you guys an idea of the most popular days that we have listens to our pod, and some of these might make sense because it's our release date for the most part. So over the last 6 months, in terms of the weeklies, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc., on average, Mondays get about 58 listens in a 6-month period. Tuesdays had 304, which makes sense because that's the day that our podcast goes live every week.
Yes.
Or our new one, I'll say. Wednesday is 124, which also makes sense because if you miss Tuesday, you're probably picking it up on Wednesday. And then Thursday had 64, Friday has 52, Saturday 26, and Sunday 43, because you guys are busy on the weekends, and why would you be listening to a podcast unless you're traveling on a Saturday?
That's right.
Makes perfect sense.
I agree.
Also, we can see the devices that you guys enjoy listening on, which honestly is super helpful, as well as platforms, because if one platform isn't getting a lot of attention, then we know that, like, you know, if we want to promote somewhere, it's probably not going to be there, which makes sense.
Yeah.
So 50% of you do listen on your mobile device, which makes perfect sense.
I mean, I listen to us on our mobile device.
Yeah.
So
29% listen on PC. I don't know how 19% of you are listening on your smartwatch, but I would love to know.
does smartwatch do AirPods?
I mean, maybe.
I
But
don't
would
really
that not
know.
just count on the mobile? Maybe not if they're separate.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so maybe.
Maybe.
Very impressive. And then 1% was just labeled speaker, which I don't get.
I mean, technically all of these are coming out of a speaker, so
This is very true. This is also why it was horrifying. So I would say 100% speaker.
I would say.
Platforms you guys are using include iOS, which is usually an Apple iPhone of some sort, which is 28% of you. 22% are listening on Android. 19% are listening to Watch OS. I don't know what that is. It's obviously
Is
some
it
form
the
of...
Apple Watch software?
Oh, okay. So literally
Yeah.
watch, not like
Yeah.
eyes watch. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So that accounts for the 19% of you listening on a smartwatch. 17% are on your Macs. 12% are using a PC, so Windows, and just under 1% are using Alexa or Linux. So good
I
for
don't know what
you.
the last one
I
is, but I
don't
know what
know either.
Alexa is.
Right. Alexa's like, I got you. Who's asking their Alexa to watch MCP? That's really great. And then, of course, apps in general used to listen are also pretty generic. The top two, of course, are Apple Podcasts at 47%, Spotify at 16%, and then Google Chrome, which is probably through our RSS portal, would be my guess, more than likely, because we do have like an actual, if you guys didn't know, rss.com, we do have a physical site that does have access to all of our podcasts through a browser source. So just
Yes.
putting it out there.
Also, I did not know that Apple Podcasts was like our top performing app, and now that changes
Yeah.
everything in my life. I'm just biased because I listen to all my podcasts on Spotify, like I guess a weirdo for our listeners, because
That's
only
where I listen.
16% of you do. So
I
don't know.
I've recently transitioned from Apple to Samsung phones, but even when I had my Apple, I didn't listen using the Apple Podcasts app. I also listened using Spotify.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna be throwing up some more Apple Podcast links, I guess,
Heck
in the Instagram. So
yeah,
look out for those.
So Google Chrome was 8%. Bullhorn, which I've never heard of, is 7%. Google Bot is 5%. Spotify cache service is 5%, which just means it's been cached and you're probably going back to listen to it at some point. Yeah, I believe that's what it is. If my marketing terms are correct, which it should be, because that's what my job is. Hopefully I'm not a dummy.
Yikes.
Yikes. Stitcher is 4%. Samsung Podcast, which I also didn't know existed, is 2%. Safari, which is the iPhone browser app, is 1%, and then there's less than 1% of you listening on Pandora. So great to know that we're reaching a wide variety of audiences, no matter where it is. That's actually super helpful data, because regardless of whether you're in the Apple Pods or the Pandora listens, you're getting it somewhere, and that's great.
Exactly.
So now we're moving into our Q&A sort of situation. And the first thing that I would really like to know, Blair, is what your favorite episode was. Do you have an idea?
So yes, I do.
Okay.
I think I have a couple different ones. I think my favorite all-time episode is the One Direction episode.
Fair enough.
Because it is something that we bonded over very early in our friendship.
That's true.
And I will literally never, the only One Direction concert I have ever went to was with you. And we drove from Virginia to Philadelphia.
We did.
Which I don't even remember why we decided to go to the concert in Philadelphia. Maybe it was like the closest one that was tickets were still available. I don't know.
It had to have been, because and shout out to Nadira and Victoria
Yes.
Victoria for driving through Philadelphia traffic
Yes.
to get there.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it probably was the closest to us because it was only 4 hours away.
Yes.
Yeah.
But and I love like talking about One Direction. I think that it's like really fascinating how their journey was as a band. And then also I feel that concert that we went to was a like a core memory, life-changing event, because A, it strengthened our friendship, but also B, we saw all 5 members of One Direction in their prime.
We did.
At the top of their like peak career situation. And also we saw Five Sauce.
Oh, so good.
And also
peak.
Also peak. And them opening for One Direction was like amazing. It was so good. And it's like one of the only concerts I've been to where I've enjoyed the opener as much as I've enjoyed the actual band.
Yeah. And that was that not the last tour with all 5 of them?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That was the last year they all toured and we caught it.
Right.
I think the only disappointing part about that for me was the fact that I had also just gotten into it. So like by the time that I'd gotten into it, Zayn was getting ready to leave and then they all just disbanded. And it was a very sad time and I felt very betrayed, but it's fine.
Well, and it was also garbage because not only was One Direction breaking up, but I was like, we were in the process of like our school had shut down. We're like moving to a new thing. So we don't even have our like comfort music
or friends
anymore.
For that matter, because we were all scattered at that point.
Right. It was just,
true. You're you're absolutely right.
The years of 2015 to 2016/17 were very rough.
Very, very rough. I agree. But One Direction made it better at the time.
It did.
Despite all of that we didn't know was coming. But that's a good one.
Yeah. I love that episode. I also think that the Uranus episode is peak comedy, but that's just because I'm immature.
Aren't we all just a little?
I like that one a lot. And then I don't know. I really like the episodes that I feel like we had a lot to say from like a personal standpoint. So like One Direction, Pinterest, Halloween, like things that I felt genuinely like passionate about, that I wanted to talk about, that I already had like talking points for before I even did any research. Those are the ones that I like the best.
That's when you know it's going to be good.
Totally.
Ironically, your probably least favorite is one of my favorites in terms of episodes. I do actually really like episode 1, our very first, only because of the amount of time and energy and work that we put in to get this thing off the road, get this thing rolling, have something out there. We were so nervous, but so excited. We were also using like audio editing software for the first time with zero experience. And that was also during the time that after each episode, we would stay after and do it together. And
Yeah.
it was just so fun to listen to ourselves and feel like we were about to do something completely off the beaten path for us.
Yeah.
And feel that like first time excitement.
Yeah.
And you just can't get that back, honestly. The first and the last experience for a lot of things, the feeling just doesn't go away.
Right.
And so for me, even if the topic was a little dry and a little cliche, obviously our titling has since been the forefront of all of our episodes, I would say.
Yes.
But it's my favorite for more nostalgic reasons, I guess, because it was our first, and the first of anything is super exciting in most cases.
It was our baby.
It was our baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I feel like we've cut, being able to look at that episode now feels really good too. Like, it's just really cool to see all the things that we've talked about since and see all of our little successes together. It's very fun.
I agree. Yeah.
So Blair, what does it feel like to record and be recorded for our pod?
So I would say I really like recording. I think it's fun. I like it better when my internet is cooperating. I would just like to state a blanket apology for all of our listeners, because I know that my internet is the reason why you hate this podcast. And you probably listened to the first 2 episodes and you were like, this is amateur hour and I will not be listening again.
To be fair, they're not wrong. That's why we have the name.
Yeah, you're so right. So we're embracing the mediocrity. But when the internet's working fine and I get to just like chat back and forth, and I like doing that. I am also one of those weird people, and I don't know what this says about me as a person. You guys can analyze that later. But like, I really like listening to the podcast afterwards and like making mental notes to myself on like, oh, well, next time this is what we'll do better. Or like, this is the joke I should have made. Or like, this is,
punchline delivered crappily.
Right. Or like, I need to move the microphone like farther away from my mouth or something like that, like so I like listening to our voices together. I think it's fun. It also serves as like quality control for us. So yeah, I like recording. I think it's fun.
How now that we've entered into the streaming side of things too, how does that differ for your experience between the recording and then when we're actually live? And which one do you like better? I know. Put you on the spot.
Okay, so I love our stream for different reasons.
Sure.
I like recording just me and you because I like having conversations with just you. When we're on stream, it can be a little distracting when chat is like all up in our grill. Not that I don't like chat, because everyone who comes into our streams are so nice and lovely. We shout out to all of you guys. But like, it's nice just to be able to like have a thought and not be interrupted.
And then continue the train of thought.
Right.
And not derail because somebody put something silly in chat.
Right. No,
which is great. And
which is great because that gives us other tangents to go on. And like, it's just a different art form, it's just not, but I definitely say I'm more of like, I like traditional, like recording the pod.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's where we started too. So
yeah.
What we're used to. I agree with you. I think my love of stream is mostly because I enjoy having the feedback instantly where we are, which is really hard. I can say the most difficult part about when we record just like this and we don't get a lot of mediocre mail, it's really hard to know what you guys are enjoying and what
Right.
you aren't enjoying, and things that you would rather hear about. And in chat, when we are live, it's very fun to get that very real, in your face feedback right away. Not to say that we're getting like chopped on the block or anything by that, but it is fun to have that interaction and feel like, these guys are like really getting it, and we're really giving them an entertaining thing to listen to
Yeah,
and like be part of.
absolutely.
So I agree. I do think it's fun to record with you both. It's always fun. I mostly look forward to our ranting sessions right before it.
I do too. Yeah, no, it's very therapeutic. You guys will never hear those. I'm so sorry.
No.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like being on the phone or on FaceTime with a friend. That's like literally what it is. So
exactly. And we used to do that, once every 6 months, and now we get to connect every week, and it's really fun.
Super fun.
So equipment, I mean, I know, so maybe like if you're thinking about doing a podcast, or you're thinking about starting to record yourself for something, whether it's like just audio or maybe YouTube, or you want to go to the streaming side, your equipment is a very important part of your setup. And I think a lot of people think that you have to be super expensive and spend the whole bank in order to do any of these, but that is absolute BS, actually, because when we started, a lot of our stuff did come from Amazon. Like all the arms and the ring light that I have is Walmart and Amazon. I know you ordered your mic on Amazon when we first started as well.
Yeah, I have 2 different mics actually. One of them is the more like traditional, what you think of when you think of a microphone, and then the other one is more of like a podcasting microphone. I'm not sure which one I like the best. I switch them out every so often because I care about that. But like both of them were like relatively cheap. I think the traditional microphone was like $20.
Yeah.
It was like not, and it has good quality audio. So
yeah. And I think that's the thing. If you're wanting to kind of splurge a little bit, I have a HyperX microphone. It's not the most expensive, but it's not the least expensive. I know Blair recently transitioned from her Mac laptop to a PC operation, which just goes to show you can stream and pod and whatever you need to do on pretty much any device you have available to you.
So previous to this, I was running everything, stream, editing, like the whole 9 on my poor MacBook Air, and she really held it together for me. But like at the end, she sounded like she was going to explode, and she like honestly was so warm that I thought she was going to explode.
She might have.
But yeah, so we've retired the MacBook Air, and now we have like a full PC setup, and it's much better.
It's going to be great. Also for streaming as well, it'll probably feel really good as well.
Totally. Yeah.
Which at the time of this podcast recording, we haven't tried yet. I think it's this week actually, at the time of recording, not necessarily the time after this episode too. Actually, we have another stream.
Well, and also the reason I wanted to get a PC is because I needed more space. Because all of our audio files and everything, like they're really big, and I wanted to be able to edit the video files from stream so that we could put them on TikTok. Like Kirsten's been doing that now, and she's doing a fabulous job. But like I also want to be able to edit and like put up videos and what I think is funny and all that stuff. So
exactly. And that's the other thing. I think outside of like physical equipment, the other equipment that you absolutely need to have is someone that you can rely on if you're doing this with a duo or a trio or whatever you're deciding to put together. Having a good friend and trusted person that you can balance each other out on with these platforms is so very important. If you're doing it solo, that's fine. You've got yourself and whatever. But if you're trying to do this with friends, just know you're going to need to be able to trust that person. And Blair and I trust each other like irrevocably. Obviously this is a year in and we're still here. So
50 episodes
in. And so I think having someone you can trust and balance the show and whatever you're doing is also very important. So, make sure you choose wisely, I guess. Is the end of that. But And then as far as editing and posting, we use RSS. So rss.com is basically where we host all of our episodes and data, and that system is what puts it all out to you guys on all of the platforms you could possibly dream of. If you do want a recommendation, it's very great. We've been using it since the beginning. We've also used GarageBand on Mac. I don't know other operating systems that you could use. I guarantee they're out there. But GarageBand has treated us really well.
Yes.
And I think the quality of the sound output has been very good as well. I forget, Blair is literally our sound and music aficionado. She finds all of the copyright-free intro and ad music that we use, but I don't remember what it is that you use. Is it a specific program or is it?
So honestly, I just Googled like free music websites and went from there. I think, let me see if I can find it really quick for you guys.
Yeah. So if you're curious, the song choice that we use for our intro and outro is called Rio Fresh. And then all of our ads, we started having different music with our ads. The boys ad has consistently had the same music just to identify that that's going to be the MCP husband ad. And now I think we've just kind of settled on one for our other ones. But we do like to make sure you guys have tons of things to listen to in the ad segment, because we aren't monetized, and just very transparently, we don't get paid to do this other than the sheer joy of posting together on the internet. I don't know if we'll ever do it in the future, but if you are interested in using RSS, they do have a monetization tab that you can tap into to reach out for sponsorship ad opportunities or other companies that you might want to connect with to monetize your podcast or whatever you're doing. So there is opportunities if you want to do it. We're just not currently doing that, and that's okay. We also are not Twitch affiliates right now, which is also fine. We are doing that for fun and recreationally. It's a lot to manage between the pod and our lives and a stream. So we're just doing what we can for now. And then YouTube, obviously we're very fresh on there, and it's more just another outlet for you guys to be able to watch our recorded streams, as well as another place to access our pods.
Precisely. Also, I don't know what I used. I apologize.
It's okay. It's probably random.
Yeah.
Whenever we need it. So the last question I have is actually for the audience. We talk about it a whole heck of a lot about wanting your feedback, and we genuinely do want it. So send us your episode ideas. 2024 is right around the corner, and Blair and I are already working to begin pre-recording and get things scheduled for you guys. And obviously that in and of itself takes a lot of work, but even coming up with topic ideas. I mean, I know you and I both sometimes feel creatively burned out because we're doing this so much, and we do enjoy it, but like anything that you enjoy, sometimes it's a lot. So if you have ideas, we are always grateful to receive them. So if you have any, of course, at the end of this episode, we'll tell you how to reach out to us and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
A huge cheers is going to go out to our husbands for dealing with us every Sunday when we record.
Yes.
Because it does take up a lot of time, even for them. And when there's things you want to do on the weekends, we're recording. And also, as I said earlier, a huge thank you to all the family members who have been on the show, and cheers to having more of them be part of it in the future, family, friends, what have you. And then a big thanks to all of you. Cheesily, we appreciate everything that you do, whether it's just listening or rating or, whatever the case may be.
Being on stream.
Yeah, stream. Our chat is fantastic. So thank you so much for joining us every other Thursday. If you haven't joined us over on Twitch yet, please do. We'd love to have you there. And again,
and when this episode comes out,
yes,
that Thursday, so like 2 days from
2nd?
now.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, November 2nd. Yeah, we'll be on stream. So when you hear this, just know you can catch us on Thursday. So in a couple days.
And we'd love to have you there. As always, thank you. Is the cheesy part.
from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate you guys. And here's to 50 more episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers to 1,000 episodes.
Yes.
All right, you can let them know how to reach out to us. Fine, whatever.
Okay. All right. So feel free to send us an email with any questions, comments, concerns, or episode topic suggestions at mediocrecontentpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram or TikTok at Mediocre Content Podcast, or catch up with us every other Thursday on Twitch at Mediocre Content Podcast at 3 p.m. PST, at 6 p.m. EST, or at 11 p.m. BST. Don't forget to rate us 5 stars anywhere you listen to the podcast. And we will see you next week, as always.
Cheers.